Hi there, Bill Wayno here, and I have been on a project for the last few days, and I wanted to share it with you. It's been exciting. It's taken me a while because there's three things, special things here that you haven't seen anywhere else, and I'm going to share them with you, and it makes the project a lot easier. So the project I've been working on is road armor. Now on our 22 MLSs, we don't have road armor. I don't know why. I'm assuming because road armor is put on Keystone's heavier models, all their fifth wheels, and I think it's on some of their larger travel trailers. But what road armor does is it makes your suspension more independent, and it reduces they call it chatter, I call it shaking. And the reason why that I decided to put road armor on my travel trailer is because maintenance. It stands to reason in my mind that the more shake, the more maintenance. So we have thousands and thousands of parts: refrigerator, air conditioner, TV mounts, things like that. And as you go down the road, it's going to shake. Well, my reasoning is the less shake, the less bounce, the less maintenance on those products. And so that allows me to have more time in my 22 MLS. I did a lot of research. Keystone clearly did a lot of research because they chose the road armor product. And what I want to do is I want to cut to a little commercial here, or a little informational video here that Lippert put out. So watch this, and this will explain a little bit why I chose road armor.
Introducing the Road Armor Shock Absorbing Equalizer, the latest ride-enhancing product brought to you by Lippert Components. Most RVs today come standard with a steel cast equalizer, technology that is over 100 years old and first designed for horse-drawn carriages. This technology was designed to simply equalize the load between the lead and trailing axles. Nothing more, nothing less. When these equalizers encounter road vibrations, the leading and trailing leaf spring shock is sent directly into the RV's chassis and into the sidewalls, and over a period of time will cause damage to your hard-earned investment. It's time to use technology designed and engineered in the 21st century, not the 1800s. Built on our legendary Trail Air anti-shock technology, the patent-pending Road Armor Equalizer is the first of its kind to dampen road shock and vibrations transferred from both the leading and the trailing leaf springs. How does Road Armor do it? Its patent-pending design features a single pivoting arm that is permanently engaged with the trailer axle's leaf springs. Road shock and vibrations are then transferred to our customized durometer rubber shock absorbers. Through months of testing, our shock absorbers are engineered with the exact amount of density needed for maximum absorption. Other products on the market today use rubber compounds with the consistency of a hockey puck. This, in effect, doesn't absorb anything, but rather transfers road shock directly into the chassis and sidewalls, causing the same effect as a standard equalizer. Road Armor's shock absorbers also offer 360 degrees of protection. How is this possible? Each side of the Road Armor Equalizer has a total of 3 inches of vertical travel. When the lead leaf spring encounters road shock, it will kick the Road Armor's lead side vertically up to 1.5 inches, while the Road Armor's trailing side will push down 1.5 inches. The adverse happens when the trailing axle incurs the same road vibration. That's 360 degrees of total protection and 6 total inches of possible vertical travel. Road Armor was designed and engineered to offer RVers and trailer owners a better suspension enhancement solution. We even went as far as road testing all comparable products under the exact same conditions and scenarios to prove that Road Armor is the best choice available. On the left, you can see how the standard cast equalizer transfers road shock directly into the chassis. There's absolutely nothing stopping or preventing road shock in this scenario. Competitor A incorporates a rubber compound to help absorb road shock, but because of its rigidity, it does little to deflect the shock, and most of it travels directly into the chassis. Competitor B's design pulls down when the leaf spring kicks down and out, causing the rocking chair motion seen here. This pulls the equalizer's arm down and away from the rubber compound instead of in the needed vertical motion. In the end, the equalizer is working in opposite of the natural motion of the trailer's leaf springs. Under the same road conditions, Road Armor performed superior to its competition. In this road test video, you can easily see Road Armor absorbing the lead leaf spring shock, then immediately handling the trailing leaf spring shock. Other upgraded features of Road Armor include greasable bronze bushings to improve wear and tear and extend product life. Upgraded automotive-grade fasteners for superior corrosion protection, extending the life of the product. Road Armor by Lippert Components. Protect your investment. Protect your cargo. Protect your sanity while towing with the best rubberized equalizer on the market today. Lippert Components, enhancing the mobile lifestyle for 60 years. For more information on Road Armor and other great products, visit www.lippertcomponents.com.
Okay, now, not just Road Armor, but I also chose to upgrade the Shackle System. What the Shackle System is I'll show you. The Shackle System is right here. And what the Shackle System does is it goes up and it connects your leaf springs to this component right here. And it gives it a little bit of a sway, and it also gives you a little bit of a sway here. However, upgrading, these are the shackles that are provided by Keystone on our 22 MLS. Now, they are heavy and they'll last. I mean, they're kind of bulky, they're good. This is the upgraded version. Now, you can see it's thicker and it's bigger. So you can see that it's just a little beefier. So I like that. Also, what I upgraded was the bolts. Now, the bolts are here. They're thick. They're beefy, they'll last. However, I upgraded to the wet bolt. You got a grease cert here and a little hole here, which allows you to pump grease into the grease cert, and it comes out of this little bitty hole right there, and it greases the inside of the bolt. Now, my thinking is, and I believe I'm correct here, that it just reduces the wear because, you know, it's lubricating it. So I upgraded that. Also, what I upgraded was the bushings in there. Now, what comes on your 22 MLS is a nylon bushing. And when this bolt wears over time, now I've put 3,000 or 4,000 miles on my camper. And when I took those nylon bushings out, as you'll see in my video, you'll notice that there wasn't a lot of wear on it. So I'm sure they'll last a long time. However, you can upgrade to bronze bushing. So you have to take your nylon bushing out and you put your bronze bushing inside right here. So this one has the nylon bushing in it, as you can see. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you have to take that out, and there's a special way I do it that I'm going to show you. It makes it real easy. And then you put your bushing into it, but it's tough to do. Now, every single I watched a lot of YouTube videos before I did it, and every single video I've come across puts the bushing in one way. And in my opinion, it has the potential to damage your bushing. Well, I come up with a better way. Well, a different way. So I'm not going to call all the other YouTube videos wrong, but I just came up with an alternate way of doing it, which I believe it's easier and it's safer. So that's a surprise. You're going to see that in the video here. So anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into how I installed my Road Armor on the 22 MLS. Okay, the first part of my video here is the Shackle System. Now, I'm going to cut here. And what you're going to notice is you're going to get a heavy-duty shackle system that is already installed just like this. However, what I did notice was I noticed that when you put these on, it doesn't slip on there properly. So all they did was when they pushed these in, you see little grabby teethy things on your shackles. So right there, you see those little gears there? They're little grabby teethy things. And when they bang them into the metal, it creates a groove there and it attaches to it. So when you put your bolt on here, it doesn't turn. So you can tighten your, and this is very important, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. However, so I had to solve the problem. How do I make this go in nice and easy? So here we go. I noticed that I had to spread those bolts out, but I had to be extremely gentle doing it. And I came up with a system where you take your bolt cutters and you can put those bolt cutters in. When you spread them apart, they get real narrow. And then when you push, it gets wider at a very gentle rate. And then you can slide your shackle on, and that's the way you want to do it. The first thing you want to do before you install your road armor is make your camper stable. So you put your X-Chalk in, which allows it not to sway front to back, and you want to raise your stabilizers because you're going to be lifting one side of your trailer. And remember, those stabilizers aren't there to lift your trailer. They're just there to stabilize your trailer. So you don't want to leave those down when you're doing this. So put them up. With your wheels still making contact with the ground, you want to loosen your lug nuts because it's just easier because your tire does not turn. Then what you want to do is you want to go into the raising of the camper part. So you take a jack and you jack it up. And then you slide your jack stand under the frame, and then you release the pressure on your jack, allowing it to go down onto your jack stands. Now you can take your tires off. One thing you want to do when you take your tires off is inspect them really good, because I found 2 screws in my tires from all my travels. Now I've been on the road a lot, and I'll tell you what, I've heard a lot of controversy over Road Kings versus Goodyear, and I had 2 screws in there, and I didn't lose 1 pound of pressure. So I didn't have a blowout. It didn't explode on me. Am I going to keep my Road Kings? Absolutely. I think they're a great tire. As long as you keep the proper air pressure in there, you don't have to worry too much about it. Okay, then you move on to there's 3 ways to take those back bolts off. First of all, you want to take your breaker bar and loosen the bolts. Then once you loosen them, you can try a drill and taking them off. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the best way to do it is just taking a big beefy ratchet and, just putting in the muscle work and taking those off, because they are, here's one thing. They are not, the nuts you put on there are not round. They're a little bit oblong. And the reason for that is when you put them on, it's a little bit hard to put on. But what they do is it's kind of like a lock nut. So you're putting them on the threads and they tighten extremely tight, so they won't come off. Here's another thing. If you notice, I've had 3 jacks, 1 on each axle and 1 right there in the center. That was just to keep the pressure off of my leaf springs when I took those shackles out. Then I took the jack out and it released the pressure on that sway mechanism, and I could just tap it right out. Okay, here is the easy way to get those nylon bushings out that I came up with. You take a small little punch and you just go between the bushing and the metal and you tap that punch all the way in. What that does is that creates a little hole that you can take your needle nose, and the idea is you put your needle nose in and you twist and you turn and you pull at the same time. What that'll do is that'll bring that nylon bushing right out there. Now here's a trick. Sorry about that. Here's a trick. You want to clean all the rust out, or any kind of spurs or anything like that, and then you take your bronze bushing. Now a lot of videos will show hammers and you just hammer it, pop, 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 pop. But what I came up with was a big old beefy screw and a big old beefy washer. And I put that on there, and I put my bushing on the screw, and I put that through the hole, lined it up a little bit, put a washer on the other end, and then all I had to do was start ratcheting. And that will squeeze, that will push that bushing in nice and easy. Now it takes a while, and that's okay, because you're not beating the heck out of that bushing. You could potentially disfigure the edge of that bushing. Now I've seen people also do it with rubber mallets, and that's just that would be torture in my opinion. So I just came up with this way, and it just puts it in there, and once the pressure, you'll feel it stop. And once you feel it stop, you take that nut back off, and it is perfectly aligned inside that hole. Okay, then you put your road armor on. You just slide that wet bolt right in there. Now don't forget, here is something about, there is some controversy on whether you should have your grease zerks on the outside or the inside. Now, I watched YouTube videos and I've seen them both ways, but my thinking is you want to keep them the way they were. And the way they were was, you see these little grabby gears. Okay, now these grabby gears are on the outside of your trailer. Now, because you're using a wet bolt, you're pumping grease in and you're trying to keep it in this area right here. So they've essentially made channels in your frame by banging that bolt in. So now there's little grooves on the outside. If you turn this and put it in from the inside of your camper, what you're essentially doing is putting grooves or making channels on this side, which is fine. However, you've also still have the channels on the outside of your frame. So if that makes sense. So when you're pumping grease into that area, it has channels to escape, because what you've done is you've put channels on the other side and you've left those empty channels on the outside of your trailer. It's just the way I do it. Is the other way right or wrong? I don't know that it matters, but that's just my thinking. And if you think about it, you have open channels on that other side. So I leave my grease zerk on the outside, and I use the channels that are already created to bang this bolt in. So then there's no channels on the other side. And to me, it just makes sense to do it that way. So you put your road armor on, and I just took a little socket and I just banged it on there right into those same channels, and it holds. And then you put the nut on the other side, and boom, your road armor main device is on. "50 foot-pounds of pressure." Now, I know that some of them say 30 to 55. I chose 50 foot-pounds of pressure on all of my nuts and bolts. So then you put the shackles on. Because you have the 3 jacks, you can keep them aligned fairly decently. Is there a little bit of a learning curve? Yeah, because you might have to raise one and lower one, and that's okay. But anyway, so you tighten the nuts in the back, 50 foot-pounds of pressure. Then you go to put your secondary shackle on. You have to adjust, and that's okay. It's not too awful bad. But once you bring it down a little bit, once I brought it down a little bit, I could just slide it right on in there. Boop. There you go. 50 foot-pounds of pressure. Okay, the leaf spring, same way. You put your bronze bushing in, and then this was a little bit on the difficult side. And the reason why is it's kind of tough to line that up really good. And so you had to, with one person, which is what I was there by myself. What I had to do is I had to try to line it up. Man, I tried taking a little hammer and tapping it to try to get it over there. What I essentially ended up doing was I took my hammer and I placed it between my road armor and the frame, and I pulled it, kind of used it as a lever, And what that allowed it to do was come back over a little bit, line it up, and then I could put my bolt in. Actually, what I did was I noticed the back was lined up a little better, so I put a bolt in the back, one of those old bolts, and then I could bang my wet bolt in, and it just pushed the back one out, and there you go, kaboom. And then I put my nut on and 50 foot-pounds of pressure, and all right, that's it. That's what I did. Now, it took a little bit longer than what was in the video, of course, because there was learning curves. How do I spread those bolts apart without damaging them? How do I get the bronze bushing in, without damaging them? Things like that. So, but I hope you enjoyed this. That's what I did. My next project is, I did notice when I'm sitting in there watching TV and we have the living room lights on, you see a reflection of that light right in front of that TV, and on the Western version it's a little bit on the right of the TV, but you can still see the reflection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that one light out to a pushy button light. So even if all the living room lights are on, I can just tap that and it'll turn that one light off, and so that's kind of exciting. That's what I did there. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and this is for all my 22MLSers because this is 22MLS specific. However, this type of thing could be also used on other Keystone products. One other thing I will tell you is there is a question of warranty. Now, Lippert, this, just from my experience, the road armor is made for a gajillion tons of travel trailers. So are we going to have an issue with them giving out? The way I saw it constructed, absolutely not. That's just my opinion. Also, I got the road armor direct from Keystone because I wanted the blue ones because that's what comes on there. So I'm gonna, you can go to your dealer and order them directly from Keystone. So, but because I did the work myself, that's not warranted. But I mean, the travel trailer, anything that I didn't do the service on, and the road armor manufacturing pieces, I'm sure those are warranted. But this is my opinion. But the actual technical stuff, the service that I did, would not be under warranty, and that just stands to reason because I did it. So anyway, I hope that clears it up for you. Sure love everybody out there, and I will look forward to making the next video. Bye-bye now.